all right-wingers are grifters, and even that moderation that they're engaging with is them simply reading the room and recognizing that they have to offer some kind of left-wing material solutions.
What's he talking about? What is Tucker and Nick offering that is a left-wing material solution? All right, so according to this clip here, Cenk and Hassan debate about Fuentes reuniting with the left on some issues. Now, very strange bedfellows, you might be saying to yourself, Cenk Uygur, Hassan Arbi, and the likes, but they do have some common interests with Fuentes on the issue of Israel and AIPAC in particular. So let's see how this conversation goes down.
So now we're left with two guys that are left, Tucker Carlson, and yeah, I'm going to say the word or the name, Nick Fuentes.
How could you possibly say the name of Voldemort?
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's I have stopped censoring that Nick Fuentes mentioned since he's getting fucking profiled by the New York Times, you know?
Yeah. So Tucker Carlson, I think, has a shot at actually meaning it. And so I'm not sure that I agree with you.
You and I have had a private conversation about this many years ago, and I think I've been vindicated on this.
I think I've been vindicated on it, but we can have that conversation in a minute. So to now go.
So for those of you who don't know or aren't aware of the background here, it's like Hassan Arbi is Cenk's nephew, and Hassan got his break in media by going and working for the Young Turks and doing a bunch of reporting for them and working with their sponsors. And then eventually Hassan decided to go out and do his own thing. So this is why they're like in his bedroom at a Thanksgiving lunch having this conversation.
We'll come back to Tucker. You go to Fuentes. And so he seemed to be a classic guy who's, to be fair to him, not hiding his nationalism, right? So he was like, I'm going nationalist. I'm going Christian nationalist, white nationalist. It appeared to me, right? That was my original read of him. But now he's also changing. And so now I know we all cancel him to bejesus. And
I mean,
okay, Barry Weiss, if you're watching, which you obviously are,
Holocaust
right?
denier.
Right. So no problem. You deny the Holocaust, you say all these things. He's against race mixing. Well, yeah. I'm married to an Asian woman. What am I going to agree with that? Right. So
Cenk Uygur got that yellow fever, son. Didn't know that about Chunky Yogurt. Didn't know he had the yellow fever. But I was wrong. Or I just didn't know that. Wouldn't exactly have picked Cenk Uygur to be one that loves his mustard.
Obviously, we're against all that. But even now, he has realized that's not actually where his audience is. So whether it's Craven,
I think he's a grifter. I think these guys are all grifters.
Right. Whether it's Craven or not, whether they're grifters or not, even Fuentes is now saying, he said it just like 2 days ago, you know what? Maybe we put aside the racism and the cruelty and the abuse, right? Which is an amazing admission, by the way, that kind of is the direction they were going, right? And he says maybe we put that aside to be able to unite with the left.
I don't believe
I'm not saying yes to Fuentes. I'm just saying look at the tide moving. The tide is moving towards populism because it's being driven by the audience. The audience wants real populism. So when they sense bullshit, they don't want it, and they're pushing in a better direction. So why is Tucker? Now let's go to the heart of it. Tucker, right? Why is Tucker to me today different than he was on Fox News? Because on Fox News, he worked for corporate media. And he says it now himself. He says, yeah, I mean, there were certain things we were allowed to say, not allowed to say. I regret a lot of the things that I said on there. So now he's more tethered to the audience than he is to Rupert Murdoch. And so he tries to serve his audience better. And now he says wrong about Iraq, right? Wrong about war overall, wrong about a bunch of things, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, have a lot of us on the left said as much as he has about all the things we're wrong about, right?
No, I don't say that at all.
See? So what my point is, not that he's right and we're wrong or anything along those lines, but he's at least making movements to go towards agreement.
You're saying that there's a broader trend line that's...
So the thing is here, they act like Tucker Carlson never did anything in the interests of populism when he was at Fox News. I mean, he got fired from Fox News for being a dissident, for dissenting against the war narrative, against the Ukraine narrative. And he was doing that for a number of years beforehand. And he went against the whole COVID narrative. This is a true populist, even when he was on the big news networks. Obviously, he's a lot more free now to do and say what he wants. But when he was on Fox News, he was definitely definitely speaking from a populist lens, even as Cenk would define it. So I don't know why they're acting like this is something that's brand new.
Moving in the direction of left politics, and that is the reason why the likes of Tucker Carlson are retriangulating their messaging. That's somewhat understandable, but I do think that ultimately, I don't necessarily care for Tucker Carlson personally or Nick Fuentes, but I do care about changing the mindset of their audiences, because I find socially regressive politics to be, and reactionary politics to be, a distraction, and that anyone that does that to any degree is inherently reactionary and deliberately doing this because they want to move people's attention and focus away from the material inequities that they are facing.
He's just not saying anything. I mean, Hassan Piker is really just a bit of a doofus, isn't he? It's inherently reactionary, and they're not moving people towards the material. But they're not moving people towards communism and towards loving all of the different resistance groups around the Middle East. They're not moving people to Hassan's position of wanting blood in the streets of the capitalists. Like, what? That's all these guys talk about, is stopping all of these foreign wars, for example, and all of the funding of these foreign countries so that people can have better material conditions in the United States. That's what they talk about. Like, what are you even saying, Hassan?
And away from a steadfast approach to dealing with those problems. That is the reason why it's very easy for me to say all right-wingers in general are grifters, and even that moderation that they're engaging with is them simply reading the room and recognizing that they have to offer some kind of what you call populism, some kind of left-wing material solutions.
What's he talking about? Some sort of left-wing material solutions. What is Tucker and Nick offering that is a left-wing material solution? You have to actually pinpoint it. I mean, this is why Hassan doesn't debate. We just got news back today from Word War Debate that Hassan has turned down any offers to do a live debate. This is why he doesn't debate, because he's not a very smart guy. And if he was actually pressed on these definitions, I mean, Konstantin Kisin the other day in the Trigonometry podcast did a really basic job of pushing back against him. And he was basically floundering. If he had an actual debate with somebody on populism or on what is better for the material conditions of people of America, is it right-wing or left-wing populism, or is it right-wing or left-wing economics, he would just get annihilated.
Let me say two things about
some of which do it because they want to maintain their popularity, some of which do it because they have a higher degree of priority for like fomenting nationalistic sentiment, and they think this is the most effective way of doing it. I mean, Adolf Hitler was in charge of the National Socialist Party, right? Because at the time, socialism was a very popular movement. At a time when liberalism was failing, just as it is now, fascist movements were presenting themselves as revolutionary movements or an alternative to socialism that wasn't as scary. In Mussolini's Italy, it was bringing about a synthesis, as he would call it, of socialist sentiment, but also protecting the petite bourgeoisie.
Yeah, so obviously totally different things, and two ideologies that in the modern world are basically obsolete. Socialism, communism, and fascism as an ideology. But yeah, I mean, Hassan Piker, there is no wonder he doesn't debate. And he had Mexican music. Someone's playing Mexican music really loud outside. I guess that's Texas. The Cut says, always amazes me how people misrepresent the actual things people say and still deny it when it is clarified. They don't even know Fuentes' arguments. Yeah, they don't at all. And if they did, they would be able to actually push back in a substantive way and say, this is what he believes, this is why I think it's wrong. But instead, they just use all of this sort of fluffy language about it. Well, he's moving to a position of left wing. So, like, what? What are you talking about?